Welcome to episode 9 of Consensus Unreality, which is a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing. Technically,
yeah.
Sometimes
Technically,
we're not there,
it's a podcast, I think, right?
Yeah. And we're joined here today with Phan, a hypnotherapist, a musician, and an interested person in the occult, new age stuff. Anything else I'm missing there?
Metaphysics, spirituality, new age concepts. Just pretty much everything.
Good. I mean, that's gonna make for an interesting talk today. Then, if I hit record, which I did. Okay. Yeah. So I guess let's jump in. I mean, what I was thinking about in terms of this interview is, like, I've always kind of been generally interested in, new age and occult stuff, but hypnosis is one that I don't really know too much about, like the mechanics of it still.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it still kind of has that aura of like stage hypnosis and stuff, right? Which I'm sure like it is for a lot of people.
Yeah. Correct. Yes. So basically, yes. So in society, we view hypnosis as more of like the stage show hypnosis, or you see like those guys on the street doing like street hypnosis. And a lot of people think it's kind of ridiculous. And it does look ridiculous. Like it's like it's like, hi, you shake your hand, all of a sudden they go under and all that. And that stuff is pretty legit. So people always question the validity of hypnosis. Does it work? And actually, part of the training I went to, there's a whole section dedicated to how to dispel myths and rumors and misconceptions about hypnosis, because it's a really powerful tool. Like, I left my old career to study this and do it myself because I saw so much profound results. And I started seeing my life. Everything kept manifesting so quickly, and Wow. It's amazing. It's I actually set an intention to be on the show, and it like manifested.
No, you didn't. That's amazing.
I was like, really? And I kind of did that, and I didn't. I'm not the type to ask people like, "Hey, can I?" I'm just like, I'll just put it out in the universe, see what happens.
Wow.
On this show, wow, yeah.
That's a proven commodity.
Nice.
So. When did you start practicing hypnotherapy, or when did you even just when did you sort of start getting interested in hypnosis and hypnotherapy?
Oh, that's a good question. I've never really thought about it too all my life until in my 20s. So I started, you do the whole thing in life, go to school and all that, and just adhere to society's molding and things like that. And in my 20s, I wasn't really happy with the state of my life. I'm like, oh my God, I don't like my job. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And I started diving into like metaphysics and just like getting into this kind of stuff like crystals, tarot, and things like that. And I started diving more. And then I was like, when I met that and did Kundalini yoga, and I wanted to see. That's really effective, by the way. The breathing techniques are really good. So then I was like, there has to be something more out of life. And I was really into a lot of like psychedelics and things like that. That really opened up things for me as well, like a lot. So I'm really grateful for that. And I was like, okay. And I was getting into energy work in LA. It's like notoriously new agey. Yeah. And there's so many, like everyone out here, it's like, oh, what's your rising sign? What's your moon sign? Even like guys know that.
Yeah, we have to ask about all that, but keep going.
Yeah.
As far as I actually don't know much about astrology, and I don't even know my own like moon sign or rising. I just know I'm a Leo, but we'll talk about that too, about LA and how it's that.
Right. That's what I think we're super interested in that too, like the occult history of the West Coast and whatnot. But
yeah.
Yes, I know a little bit. I'll provide some info, hopefully as much as I can. But yeah, so a few years ago, I'd always look on stuff on like meetup.com if there's any like classes or anything I can go to. And then there was like a free energy class at this place in Tarzana in the Valley. This was in August of 2015. And that's when I started doing solo music stuff too. And I was still in a shaky foundation. I was kind of like not sure where I'm going to go with life. And then I was like, ooh, free energy class. Awesome. And the studio was really, the campus was weird. It's like, it has its like built-in studio, which is cool. But I'm like, it felt very, I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it. And there was this teacher, she was showing us how to do energy work. Actually, she wasn't showing us. She was just kind of introducing what it is and how it can help you. And then she did some techniques and I saw her aura. I'm like, what? I was freaking out. I was really excited and just certain things. And then from there, I was like, oh, hypno. And then I decided to enroll in a class because if you go there for a month, then if you don't like it, you can drop out and they won't charge you and stuff. So, but I got really into it and I love it. I talk about it so much. I love seeing people transform. There's a whole art to it and I'm still learning about it too, because I still consider myself an amateur. I've been only doing it for a few years, but I highly recommend it.
That's amazing. Do you care to share the name of that like center that you first went to?
Yes. So the center is in the Valley. It's in Tarzana and it's called Hypnosis Motivation Institute. And they consider it like the Harvard of hypnotherapy. And the founder helped define the term hypnotist and hypnotherapist. And he pretty much legitimized the practice in the United States too. So it's accredited. So it's a really good school because there's also like programs out there, like weekend courses where you can learn it. And it's totally bogus. It's really, it's not really regulated, but they made it more, it's accredited. So.
Nice. That sounds amazing. I love that you could see the aura like in one of the first sessions or whatever.
Yes. And the founder, he was married to her. He was married to this woman. Her name is Florence Henderson. She's like the mom from the Brady Bunch.
Huh.
Oh, really? Whoa, that's crazy.
Yes.
Damn.
That makes sense. Yeah. Wait, what was his name? The founder?
Oh, his name is Dr. John Kappas.
Cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I think that's so interesting how like the intersection of Hollywood and the new age like stuff that on the West Coast, it just seems like a totally different order of things over there.
Yeah.
It seems like it's all permeating in society over there.
Oh, definitely.
So back to I guess like the mechanics and stuff. We cheated a little bit and watched your ASMR interview, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, oh my god! Yes, that's so funny because you know what? 2 years ago, the segment with him aired, so that's really funny how synchronicity happens. Like I did that 2 years ago, and today we're doing the podcast. My friend name's Adam. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, I was on that Hypnosis TV. So you saw the days tomorrow.
Yeah.
I thought it was so interesting, sort of how you were talking about suggestibility and how you can read people and like their predisposition to suggestibility and stuff. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on that concept?
Oh, absolutely. So everyone interprets information in a different way. And so sometimes when people say, oh yeah, it didn't work for me, it's because that everyone interprets information in different ways. So for example, can you state your name, both of you?
David.
Ben.
Okay, so there's two ways to answer that. So both of you said your name, and other people would say yes.
Right.
Like, can you state your name? Yes. So that already indicates how people take in information directly, indirectly, and with communication, understanding and having awareness that other people interprets reality in a different way, maybe outside of yourself. It helps with a lot of relationships. So one of the things when I have a new client coming in, I analyze, actually they fill out paperwork by hand. And then I do a series of tests, and they're called suggestibility tests. So they indicate if a person's emotional suggestible or physical suggestible. And you can do a series of things with their hands as well. And you kind of like, it's like hyper awareness of your body language too, because you analyze every little thing, even how they blink and where their eyes go, their eye tracking, and how they pause and like the tone of their voice and just the way they look, everything reveals a story. It's amazing. You don't even need to speak. If someone walks in the room, I gauge and kind of see where they're at. And then I ask them to confirm. And it's amazing how much information we reveal to people.
Oh my God. That's almost like terrifying in a way.
Yeah. Well, in the wrong hands. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes me nervous. It's super interesting though. Like, wow. You never think about that, like how much you're conveying in these like micro gestures.
Yes, definitely. It's wonderful. And it also, there's a thing called NLP too. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. That could be like another episode. It's amazing too. So Tony Robbins is like the master of that. And yeah, that's a whole thing. Sorry, I'm getting off. There's so many things to talk about with this. We can talk forever, but
oh no, the neuro-linguistic programming stuff is so fascinating, and we mentioned that a bit with like Leary and Robert Anton Wilson, and even I think there's like Crowley kind of has like neuro-linguistic programming stuff where he like wouldn't mention certain words, like he wouldn't say certain words just to sort of like reorder how his like concept of the world through language and stuff. I think it's crazy.
That sounds like something he might do. Yeah.
But yeah, that's incredible. So it sounds like you could be like a detective almost at this, or like an interrogator.
Yes, definitely. Also with that, forensics, they also analyze handwriting, and I'm trained in handwriting analysis. So people hire me for just kind of like, oh, I might want to hire an employee, and I have a series of people. So can they submit to me like a writing sample, and I kind of analyze everything. It's amazing because the thing with body language, and let's say at a job interview, you can wear a certain outfit, you can project in a way, you can always alter consciously your body language, but handwriting actually never lies. If you have a stack of handwriting sheets in front of both of you, you can always pinpoint what is your specific handwriting. It's your unique subconscious imprint. So it's really fascinating.
What are the is there like a sort of code for like what certain things, and is there like how do you break that down, handwriting analysis?
Oh, yes. So it's been around for the past, I believe a few hundred years, and it was called graphology at one point. So you kind of analyze, definitely. And there's certain set of characteristics that indicate someone's subconscious personality. So for example, if someone writes really small, it indicates that they're very detail oriented and hyper analytical. And if lines on a sheet of paper, the handwriting, if it kind of angles upwards to the upper right, it indicates they're in a very positive disposition. Because if everything's sloping down, it indicates kind of depressive tendencies too.
Yeah.
I'm looking down at my own handwriting right now.
Really?
Yeah, I have like questions written in a notepad. No, don't analyze them, Ben. Ben's taking this information and analyzing my handwriting right now.
Oh,
yeah. I'm learning
how are
a
your
lot.
teams?
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Do you think? Is there like? Because I mean, I think a person's handwriting stays the same, like at least to a certain extent, right? Like, how much does it change given on like a person's state?
Yes, good question. So for the most part, our handwriting is our own signature imprint, but it actually changes each time depending on your mood too. So if people are really, this is good. So for example, if someone's really kind of upset, really, really stressed out, their handwriting at that very moment, it changes. You'll notice more angular, hard in the paper, the print, the ink will be kind of forced and there's a lot of pressure. Even by the way someone's position is standing upright and they're tensed out and stressed with their shoulders and neck, and then you'll see more angular kind of like more rigid, kind of like rough handwriting. So that person at the moment is pretty stressed out, or they may be upset about something.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. What is like the most what is some like historically interesting cases of like handwriting? I know like the Zodiac is like the one that like comes to mind immediately, but
that is a good question. So historically, let me try.
I mean, that's kind of a that's a deep pull right there. Maybe I shouldn't have expected like.
Yeah.
No worries, no worries. I'm trying to think of a certain case. I know actually, I think I've heard of cases where they analyze the Courtney Love. I'm sorry, not Courtney Love, Kurt Cobain, his suicide note.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. And then they have forensic handwriting analysis. I'm just trained in the hypnosis kind, but if I take more schooling, I could definitely do like forensics, because you can determine if someone is like falsifying a signature on like a trust fund or something. But
wow.
yeah, that one's really, really common. And yeah, just little micro things. There's so many different characteristics. Like you can even determine like if someone is crossing their T's and the line is really low at that moment, they're not really feeling, they have like low self-esteem, low confidence. They're not really feeling good at the moment.
That's wild. Damn.
Yeah, I'm looking at my own notebook right now. I've got those T's are really low.
Yeah, we're getting hammered down. Yeah. We're just like analyzing our own handwriting.
What about like someone who is trying to? Maybe this is a weirdly specific question. Like if they're trying to like fake their handwriting, can you still tell that it's them? Is there still like something tucked within their handwriting that will like give them away?
If it's faked?
Yeah, or like if they're trying to make their handwriting look like, say like you're a right-handed person, but you write with your left hand to like make it, like in like spy stuff,
Oh, yes. It depends on if you analyze like their other samples as well. Because if I'm just basing off that thing, then I just assume that's their like handwriting. So if I have a series of other samples from them, then it's like, okay, that's forgery. That's something about that's very off.
Right.
That
makes sense. So yeah, comparison. Okay.
So how much like of the world do you see as being hypnosis from day to day? Because I think that obviously there's like the stigma of like hypnosis being, like changing somebody's thoughts, but then there's sort of stuff like, marketing, propaganda, like. How much do you think we're exposed to hypnosis like every moment of our lives,
Yes. Oh, that's such a good question. I'm so glad you asked that. So in society, we are in a state of mass hypnosis. So the session that I do, I'm actually dehypnotizing somebody. So each and every day, we are inundated by so many commercials, symbols, all these different things. They pierce the subconscious mind. So a lot of corporations, they will always have a logo, and a logo is kind of like a sigil,
right?
It's etched in the unconscious. It's like you drive down a street and there's like, let's say there's like a McDonald's billboard, even though we don't like it or something. It's like, oh, maybe I want that. And then it's just, you see those arches, right? And it just leaves that collective consciousness imprint. It's really amazing how they tap into that. And even going on social media too. Oh my God, yes, all of that and different images and memes and all that. It's really fascinating. So there's a whole book on this I got to send to you guys, and some links and things like that. Very fascinating.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you're saying like you're hypnotizing people in a session rather than like performing hypnosis. That's really interesting. It's like you're unwinding sort of like things that are built up.
Definitely. So the format for the way that goes is that they're still under a state of hypnosis, but we're also eradicating their ways of thinking and believing and things like that. So clearing out a lot of limiting beliefs. So hypnosis directly affects the subconscious mind. And you probably heard that word so many times. So the subconscious mind is the mind that governs our physical reality. Think of it as our life script. So you know how you blink, you digest food, you walk. We don't need to tell ourselves like, okay, we got to blink. We have to digest food. It just automatically does that. So our subconscious minds are so powerful. They are our best friends. They run on these programs. And a lot of times it begins from 0 through 8 years old. When we're born with the primitive mind, which houses a fight, flight, and freeze mechanism. And babies are scared by loud noises or a fear of heights. And it's like our reptilian brain. It protects us in terms if we're in some danger. And in our childhoods, we children are walking sponges. They soak in everything. They soak in the environment, what they consume, their education, where they grew up, what your ethnicity is. All of the there's so many factors that make up our subconscious minds, and it's a record keeper of every moment, every event. It's impossible for us to remember every little thing, but it remembers everything, and it even passes down to generation. So even in your DNA, you might inherit like a lot of like ancestral trauma. Let's say if someone in your family down the line was in a war. So it's amazing. And most people think that their life is the way it is. They'll never have change. I'm like, nope, that is not true. It's such a great tool for empowerment. It literally changes your reality, and it's the fastest way to manifest, to set intention and things happen. So
yeah, that's so fascinating.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy. I feel like I'm under hypnosis right now because it's just the things that you like never think about, but it at the same time, it does scare the hell out of me, like how reprogrammable the brain is and like the mechanics of our mind.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. And especially when, so influence is like, let's say if there's something happening, like a fear across the nation, there's an event that people will instantly go into fight or flight or freeze mode. And that's when you can hijack and make a decision for them and kind of take control of what, anything is. And like, that's how people they'll just be open. How do I say this? They'll be open for whatever people suggest them, just suggest to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's some spooky stuff.
I mean, something that I'm interested in all this is sort of like the ethics of it, I guess. I mean, because it seems like it can be such a tool for good, and I'm totally open to that. I also, I mean, there's so much documented stuff about its use for like really nefarious like intelligence types, and that's my hobby horse or whatever. But like, what do you think of that? Like, sort of the history of hypnotism and hypnosis, like in like maybe intelligence programs or like interrogation, that sort of thing.
The Ghoul MK Ultra,
right?
Oh yeah. So it can definitely be used for bad, but also at the same time, here's my take on it. It gets really complicated, to be honest. So hypnosis, you're actually fully in control. And think of the person conducting it. Think of them as a personal trainer for the mind. So like, say if you're in a gym, you're with a personal trainer, maybe they're suggesting things to do and you work out, you're doing all the work. So I'm just a facilitator for the unconscious mind. If there's anything I say, and if they're not in agreement with it or in congruency, then they'll be resistant too. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like hearing you talk about it makes me want to like go and have sessions and stuff. I'm like, man, this could help me.
So you couldn't make me like kill Robert Kennedy? Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, I can't now, but I don't want to either.
Those cases of it being used for bad is so minute too, as well. Also, you're actually in control too. So it's actually not mind control. And let's say if I do a session with both of you, it's actually a very light state. You're still super aware of like everything going on. And think of it, so the easiest way to describe it, because it can get pretty tricky. So basically, in essence, hypnosis is an awareness and focus in the mind, but also you're allowing your physical body to relax. And you can actually access that hypnotic state anytime. So each and every day we actually go in these bouts of hypnosis. Let's say if you're driving and you miss your exit, that's hypnosis. If you're scrolling on your phone, that's hypnosis. If you're working on music and hours go by and you're like, whoa, it's already 3 a.m., that's hypnosis. And when people, even at shows too, I've noticed this phenomenon even before I learned about it. Years ago, like 10 years ago, I'd go to a show and everyone's sitting and then people are just kind of naturally nodding their heads and kind of like zoning out. And then the music would be, I guess, like ambient, or even it could be any kind of music. But I was like, whoa, everyone's reacting in a way. And that's actually hypnosis too. So anytime you're zoning out pretty much, or in the flow state, that's hypnosis.
Yeah, the flow state.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, so in like the 80s and 90s, there was the whole like regressive hypnosis thing. What do you think of like with alien abduction and like what do you think of that? Is that like a legitimate application of the tool, or is that sort of something else?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. I know about it, but I don't know too much to formulate like a proper opinion. But yeah, it's that I'll look more into that.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't even think. I don't know why I didn't even make that connection. But
like sending someone back in time, like yeah, that kind of like regressive, like to uncover hidden memories, that kind of thing.
Right.
Oh, yes. Okay, so at the school I went to, we weren't allowed to do regression hypnosis, but you can totally do past like regression. So regression hypnosis, I'm not for that. Someone can call like a false memory and it never happened. So it's not actually, it's not in court too. So that I don't really do any of that actually. So
yeah, it seems dangerous. Yeah. Like implanting false memories. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's wild. Implanting like a screen memory. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, do you know what? I'm going to shut this window real quick because this dog is like barking outside. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
I wanted to ask, do you like see yourself using hypnosis techniques in with your music?
Oh, that's I actually keep it fairly separate. I've been noticing, like I want to incorporate it more. I'm trying to think of a way to do it that feels right, because it's like I feel if I just do, I don't know. That's a good question. I think I keep it very separate, but I when I listen to my music again, it has this kind of similar state, I guess.
Yeah.
It feels like dissociative. But it's not relaxing though. That's a good question, because I'm like, do I? Maybe I do, and I don't know how to answer that.
Did you ever like record one of those sort of like guided meditations?
Yes, I have, and I hear it back, and I don't know, it makes me cringe. Like I'm like, I need to do something better with it. Like I want to make it cooler. Like, I'm like, oh, this is really basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
But I have incorporated it in some stuff for mixes and things like that. So
Sure. Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah, that was awesome. Do you listen to like those guided meditations? Just like on YouTube and stuff?
Oh, definitely. I do. I have a few people I listen to, and it all varies as far as like quality goes, but there's certain people who I listen to, I'm like, this is pretty good. So
Yeah. Yeah, what kind of stuff like do you look for personally in that? Because I feel like some of them, the content is almost too wild or something, or like the delivery or something is off,
That's true. So pretty much anyone can conduct a guided imagery in a state of relaxation, but hypnosis is so basically, okay, so meditation, when people meditate, you are emptying the trash can of your mind. So you're kind of throwing away anything that made you stressed, any feelings, just kind of letting it go. But hypnosis is another level up. Not only do you like empty the trash can of your mind, you also rewire and reassociate and just update the programs. So the subconscious mind is pretty much a supercomputer of your mind. It's always running in the background. And some people maybe they kind of have the same program running. It's probably like Windows 95 or something, and it's kind of like it works, but it's outdated. And it's like, so you can utilize hypnosis to kind of upgrade the systems, like run a new updated program, and everything runs efficiently, easily, effortlessly. So
Yeah. Are you from California? Like, did you grow up out there?
yeah, so I grew up in Orange County, but my family's from Vietnam.
Gotcha.
And I currently live, I was born in Orange County, and I live, right now I live in LA. I live in like central LA.
Yeah. So did you like notice that sort of, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, how there's just more of like an occult sort of new age history. Is that something like you picked up on at an early age?
Yeah, I've noticed that when I was a little bit younger, and just this the creation of Hollywood period is like astounding, like all of just everything. And sometimes if I want to like charge up crystals or candles, I'll drive through like Hollywood, like and just like absorb all of that, and to do all this the rituals and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, I feel like the energy that created like Los Angeles was like a cult energy. I guess New York too, but
yeah, New York has it's very different though.
Yeah. I don't. California, it seems like there was always more of a progressive, like positive, metaphysical vibe, where New York feels like sinister and dark.
I think you're just talking about the weather.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so true. Every city has a different kind of aura and a vibe about it. And LA definitely has a lot of that. And it's true. So clients from the East Coast, especially New York, they'll come at the session. The first time I meet them in a session, they're a little bit skeptical and more like practical about things. It's like, okay. They kind of think about it more. So they're not as open, but until they realize like the benefits and they're more convinced, then they'll be open for it. But here it's more, there's all these like green juices and like new technologies. There's a place in West Hollywood, and they have like oxygen chambers, and they have like all these crazy things. So, and everyone's more, but also too, it's so excessive that it's at times it kind of feels like silly, to be honest.
Yeah, that's interesting. And wasn't the what's the really famous like progressive metaphysical center? I guess it was in the Bay. Is it the Echelon?
Yes.
Esalen Center. Yeah. Do you know about that at all? I've heard stuff about that in passing.
The Esalen Institute. Yeah, I know a little bit. I've actually never been there, but I've been wanting to check it out actually, because they have these awesome like hot springs in the center.
Oh,
and
wow.
have a bunch. Yeah.
Have you ever been out to like Sedona?
I have not, and I've been wanting to go. So
yeah,
that's been on my travels.
What do you make of like the vortex talk out there?
I'm open to it. I'm not gonna say one if I disagree with it or not, but there's some cities that have different chakras. Like Mount Shasta is another place for powerful vortex energy. Same with like Hawaii. There's actually a client of mine. She owns some private property, and then there's actually a vortex there. So we did some work there, and it was intense.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Where was that? That was by Shasta?
Oh no, it's somewhere. It's out in the desert.
Wow.
Kind of by Joshua Tree.
That's crazy. Do you care to elaborate? Like, I guess it would be hard to describe, probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Cancel that one. So how long have you been like doing stuff with crystals? Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I feel like that's an interesting thing where people either are interested in it or like hate it, right?
Yeah.
I can definitely see both sides. I can see why people think they write it off. I totally get it, because it's been very trendy. I totally understand. Like you can see it everywhere. I like them. I'm moving now. I'm leaning more towards like digging my own crystals instead of buying it at a store. So I'm just gonna like go to the site, and actually I'm gonna do that really, really soon. I'm going to go to this place called Pala in San Diego, and like you can like mine your own crystals and stuff like that. Wow. So I'm going to do that.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the whole, I mean, I don't know about the healing powers of crystals, but I'm like, obsessed with rocks and minerals. So,
nice.
So, it's,
oh, really?
Yeah, totally. That's, one of my secrets.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's like a closet and minerals start pouring out.
Just dirty rocks. Yeah. No. Yeah, quartz, obsidian. Gotta love it.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad you did. Always wanted to major in geology and just study
Right.
rocks and things like that.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
that's nice.
I'm like definitely pretty interested in sort of the fact that they're like conductors of energy and the free energy crystal, like
Yeah.
really out there stuff where like the one, I forget the guy's name, but he went to the top of the Great Pyramid at Giza in like I think it was like the early 1900s, and they were like measuring it, and it was like conducting energy coming off the top of it, because there used to be obviously like the front of it was all like limestone and stuff,
Right.
and there's just all these like crazy like pyramid power
I love
theories
that.
with like quartz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. They're in certain like altered states. When you touch crystals, you can feel them moving and vibrating. It's really fascinating.
Totally.
So definitely, yeah. And each one has, I don't know too much about it, but I do know for the specific chakras you can apply. So for example, the throat chakra, if you feel that, let's say if you don't feel like you can speak your truth, or you feel like you're not allowed to speak your truth, you can focus on your throat and the chakra, because it represents self-expression, communication. So you would use turquoise, aquamarine, and any crystal that has blue properties to it. And also eating food that has blue, like blueberries, like eating more of that in your diet, that can help with that.
Yeah, I have
That's awesome.
I have this one record actually that I'm remembering now, and it's like the sound of crystals, but they're it's actually, it was put out by David Tibet, and it's like Current 93 presents. But
wow.
yeah, it's really sick actually. It's these like drones created by like vibrating crystals acoustically, and then they just start like screaming.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I have to pull up the
that is
pull
cool.
that one out.
I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That makes total sense. He's heady.
Yeah, for sure. I'm obsessed. I'm a fanboy.
Oh.
Wait, he's not the fascist one, is he? Who's the fascist in that scene?
Oh, you're talking about like Death in June and Boyd Rice. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because
that's a whole other thing. We don't need to go down there.
I like David Tibet's, especially like his editing work, like what he puts out is really awesome. Yeah.
Definitely. So also, have you guys heard of the term like law of attraction or manifesting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
sure,
I needed to ask you this. Yeah, you just like manifested this question for us because I was going to ask you about like the New Thought movement and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So do you guys remember? Okay, remember that book? I think it came out in 2008. It's like The Secret.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sure, yeah.
It's cool. I know it's like really, really corny, but the concepts, they're pretty legit, and it got popularized by Oprah. She put the book on the map, and everyone's like, ooh, and they read it and they're like, whoa, what is this? And they brought all these like new thought leaders and things like that. So manifestation, we are always in this state of manifesting, and the law of attraction is a very real law. So and you always get what you think about, whether you want it or not. So think about the subconscious mind as amplifying and being a mirror and a vibrational match to what you want. So whatever you bring, think of it as an awareness device. So whatever you're focusing on, it'll continue to expand. And what people get wrong about manifesting is that they set the intentions and they're like, how come this hadn't fallen into my lap? because you need to have inspired action as well. Because if I just sit here all day and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna think this will happen, and nothing happens because I'm not moving the energy into a flow. And the thing is, I recommend to people always state things in a state of already having, like, I am this, I have this. When people are like, I want, and they state those declarations, you're always emitting a vibration of lack. And and that's how things never happen. Like, a wanting energy always puts it outside of yourself. So for example, like if someone's too desperate or like too thirsty or something, you know how it's like you just naturally repel people if you act like that. But if you're already in a state of detachment and also just putting that energy back into yourself, you'll start to naturally be a magnet for things, situations, people, opportunities, and shifting your physical state too. And it's a great way to change habits too. So it's good for releasing weight, releasing any habits that no longer serve you. So and the unconscious mind, because manifestation occurs in that, think of it as super abstract. So the conscious mind, and I'll send you like a diagram as well too.
Yeah, that's a super interesting way of putting that, because I think when people think about the law of attraction, it's like you're envisioning things for yourself, but if you're not thinking about yourself already in that way, it's really interesting about the aspect of lack.
Yes, and it applies to everything. Like, for example, I have a few female clients who want to generate love, and then it's like they put themselves out there, nothing happens. But until they kind of have that element of the law of, they have detachment too, and they focus back on themselves when they're super into something, they're living out like a passion, they're really immersed in their thing, that's when he'll come back. Or if someone's always in a new relationship, all of a sudden the ex will appear out of nowhere. It's really fascinating.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I think that kind of stuff is true. Like, it feels like it's true to life. So it's almost, it's one of those laws that feels like it doesn't, it's like, it is true. I don't know how to explain it. The things that you want always come when you're not thinking about them anymore. Yeah,
definitely, because your energy's not expanding on the worry of it and anxiety.
Right.
Like, those days where things just flow, or if you're not stressing and you work on music and it's like, wow, I love this. It's perfect. It's because you're in that state of flow. But if there's let's say if there's a deadline, you're really stressed out and stressing on the perfectionism of it, or just having a lot of weird beliefs or limiting beliefs, it feels like nothing will come out. But those days, I'll know, I have no plans. I'll just drive around, run errands, and something will just fall into my lap. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. Or if I'm just really having a good, positive attitude, it's like, oh my God, that parking space is here. Like, oh, that's amazing. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And an important thing is using detachment too. Just kind of letting it go, setting the intention, casting it into your subconscious, and then just kind of forgetting about it. That's the most important thing too, as far as when you use sigils and activate sigils. The most important thing is just attaching, letting it go, because if you're so needy to it, it won't manifest. And you're limiting yourself from something even greater too, because sometimes the universe or the subconscious will bring you something way greater than what you've imagined.
Is the law of attraction, is that William Walker Atkinson who created that term?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'm not familiar with him. I'll research
Kybalion,
that.
right? In the Kybalion and that kind of early 20th century New Thought stuff.
Yeah,
that's where
But I thought Atkinson
he
wrote a book about
three
the law of
initiates.
attraction. But he also, the more New Thought stuff that he wrote under his own name.
Right. Well, yeah. He had 10 names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he did write maybe a whole book on that. Interesting.
Oh, actually, sorry. In 1877, the term was first appeared in print in a book by this Russian occultist Helena Blavatsky.
Oh, it was Blavatsky.
Nice.
Whoa.
Man, she was busy.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. I don't know why I thought it came a little bit after. That's so interesting.
But you're right. He pretty much created it, though, William Walker Atkinson. So, yeah, that's his, yeah.
Yeah. Does this stuff, everything that we've mentioned so far seems very practical, towards, and I guess maybe I'm gonna answer my own question in a way, but like, for you personally, does this like tie more into like any sort of like more deeply ingrained spirituality, or do you see the two as being just like completely intertwined?
It's definitely intertwined, and for me, I love incorporating it into a part of my spiritual practice too. It definitely is used for a lot of practical things, but just having that connection with the subconscious mind, it's amazing. The subconscious mind, it cannot gauge what's reality. Think of it as like a very abstract thing. It interprets, it doesn't know what's a pen, what's a piece of paper, what we're talking on. It's so expansive, and it doesn't recognize things in a linear fashion. It doesn't recognize time, doesn't recognize space, doesn't recognize reality. Like you can tell it there's a penny or $1,000,000. It doesn't know what is what or what the significance of it is until we have the ego mind, the conscious mind, and it houses like a logic, reasoning, analyzing, willpower, decision making. That's when these definitions kind of take over and define things into this earthly space.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a very abstract thing. It's kind of like it can't tell like what time it is right now or who you are. And
yeah, that sounds like living in a dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dream living.
Yeah. Definitely. And I love it because you can even not only you can do like past life regression, you can also do like future life progression as well and all that. I love using it as a tool. A lot of people, they specialize in past life regression. I love using it as a way to the fastest way to elicit change in your physical reality, like things for the future. So
do you view, if you were to do like a future life progression, is that sort of like active imagining or something?
So that you basically, it's the same as past life. So you can, actively imagining and just kind of, so what it does, it kind of goes through your timeline and it speeds through like your current death and going kind of just allowing your conscious to answer what are you in your future. So for me, I'd had that done on me and it sped through time. And my consciousness, I wasn't like a female, I was a human. I was like a robot, but my consciousness was male and everything was really like high tech. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. It was very fascinating.
Yeah, it calls to mind because, I've been reading like the Red Book on, I'd like just visit it on an occasion. And it kind of reminds me of the stuff that Jung was doing with the Red Book, where he was like actively imagining these experiences with archetypes and stuff and sort of like creating these archetypes to unravel these situations in his own psyche. It sort of reminds me of that a little bit. Are you familiar?
Oh, yes. His work is, I love it. It's great. Yes. He deriving like the symbols and the collective consciousness and all these different archetypes. I love his work. So yes, his work is really profound.
Yeah.
Because it's like go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I'm like curious to imagine sort of what that process was like for him. I think he had like this sort of stone like carriage house in the back of his house that he almost made into like a meditation chamber where he would paint and write and stuff too.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's beautiful. In the ancient times, like in Egypt, there would be these spaces called sleep temples, and same with Greece. There would be like sleep chambers, and there would be like candles, incense to make it really cozy. And it was pretty much a form of hypnosis they would conduct. The people come in there they have a presenting issue and they need like a solution to heal themselves. So they would go into these chambers and have a lot of profound like changes. So
damn, we need those now. Where the fuck are those at? I'm trying to go in a sleep chamber.
That's interesting. Do you think
sleep chamber? Yeah.
Do you think there's like how much of the sort of hypnosis experience is derived from like the setting of the experience? How important is that?
Oh, I think it's very important. I notice changes in different offices I've worked at, and when it's more like a regular office or it's clinical, I notice people, they kind of just feel conscious. But then when when it's more dim and the lighting, I gotta send you a picture of my office when there's like candles and smells and tapping into that's environmental hypnosis. It feels really relaxing. It feels safe. And the key to access that state is just to be in a state of really great relaxation and receptivity. So a lot of breath work is incorporated into that too. And breath work is really, really powerful. It's a mechanism for us to clear out so much in our internal state. It instantly activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And then everything kind of slows down. So people won't go in that fight or flight mode. They're more like, kind of like, okay, after an argument, you're just like, all right, I feel better. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's so interesting. I mean, yeah, I think environment seems so important to any kind of, therapeutic anything. It seems like doing it in like a medical office seems so tough. Like you're fighting against the current.
Yeah, I just got a book called The Little Book of Color, How to Use the Psychology of Color to Transform Your Life. So I've been researching color and walls of paint and just the environment. And I love it. It's really interesting. It's amazing how you can just make a few changes in your space to totally have a different vibe. So I love like interior design, and even what we wear can leave like such a first impression, a really an impactful one, what we wear and everything. It's really fascinating.
I don't even know what I would do if you like just gave like pointers on all these subjects. I'd probably have to like burn all my clothes, like change my handwriting.
Yeah.
Like burn my house down.
Yeah. Go live on.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing it all wrong, probably.
No.
I think you're doing it all right. Like you're pretty much a facilitator as well. I feel the fact that you do your music and invokes a certain mood and energy about it.
You must be thinking of a different taste.
Yeah, you must be thinking of a different person. What do you make of like astral projection and remote viewing? Do you think there's like validity to that stuff?
Oh yes, astral projection. You can train yourself to do that. In my adulthood, I haven't been successful doing that, but as a kid I would naturally have so many instances out of astral projection. Like you just kind of, when you're in that state of sleep, you can go into another room and see like your parents and things like that. It was I want to do that again.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I forgot his name, but he's always on YouTube. He's like the it boy of astral projection.
Like Ingo Swan or something.
He's dead.
Oh, he's old. Yeah, I guess
he's
not on YouTube.
Yeah. No, they took him off when he died. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's got any film videography.
I imagine there's interviews, but yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's something.
Oh, that's all.
I feel like with OBEs and astral projection, there's got to be like a familial connection to it that sort of like triggers something. Because I've had like out of body experiences when I was like sleeping on my parents' couch, but I've never experienced that like in my own house.
Maybe there's some kind of comfort there or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I just don't know actually.
I know. No, I don't know.
That's interesting. When did this happen? Was it recently or was it like a long time ago?
It was a few years ago, but I was staying at my parents' house for a summer moving between two cities. And I think maybe that experience of like being back home for the first time in a long time, it just like triggered something. I'm not sure. But I was having like a couple.
So it was. Oh.
And it was having like.
And it was your childhood.
No, it wasn't my childhood home. It was like a house that my parents had moved into like later. But yeah, I was having like some lucid dreams and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it was just like you need something to shake things up or to push you where it's like happening. Maybe it just messed up my sleep cycle or something. I don't know.
Do you recall any significant life changes during that period? Well, you were moving, right? So that was probably...
Yeah, there was definitely a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. question. I would attribute it to what was going on in your life, in your timeline at that moment, what changes were happening, what was your state of being, like the level of sleep you had, what you ate, and all that too. Like what if it affected all of that, and just being at your parents and that familiar environment. That all factors into. I'm not sure exactly what how, but that all plays a role.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not going to think about it.
Was it a good experience? How was your experience? So what?
No, it was cool. It was really cool.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I don't want to be a dream talker. talking about my own dreams on my own podcast. It's pretty bad luck.
Yeah. That'll just be the next few episodes.
Yeah. Welcome back this is episode 10. I'm talking about a dream.
Yeah.
What do you think about like psychic vampirism, especially being out in LA?
Yes. So, have you heard of this woman? Her name's Teal Swan.
Yeah.
Okay. She's kind of controversial, but I've always really liked her. I've always liked her as a person, so I've got a lot of good information out of her. She writes on her blog. She writes really amazing articles on this. She travels a lot, so she's like, "Oh yeah, the energetic diagnosis of LA, energetic diagnosis of like Boston, Philadelphia, Portland," and I find it to be pretty spot on. And so what LA is at its core, especially in Hollywood, it brings in all types of people from around the world, and they're all wanting some sort of fame, status, whatever it is. And so I definitely see that. And I feel it so much because people come here for a mission, and it's to seek something. And you get a lot of like talent, and it's very cutthroat, very competitive. But there's an article she wrote about LA, and it was like really, really spot on. But there's a lot of that energy. It's basically she said, let me pull up the article. The dominant negative vibration in LA is poisonous ambition. So it makes the city one of the most narcissistic and cutthroat cities in the world.
Whoa.
What did you say about Philly?
Yeah, I need to know what the
vibe of Philly is.
Energetic. The vibe of
Philly, dude.
I can look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically LA, very competitive, because it's people, they're very into success, but the positive vibration is ambition. So people they're doing a lot. They're trying to achieve something, and they're very, very inspired by things. So that's a positive side. I mean, look at Philadelphia.
I have an energetic diagnosis of Philadelphia, but I think Eraserhead nailed it pretty well.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Let me know if this resonates. You can say yes or no. So I'm going to pull this up. So she said, the dominant negative vibration of Philadelphia is bewilderment, a deep, painful reflection about confusion about life itself.
Oh my God.
I think that's actually pretty true.
Yeah, that's it. How long was she here? Like 2 hours?
And then, she does these like she does like a workshop, and she'll just travel and be there for a day or two. And like, oh, okay. So she wrote, most places you go, people have created meaning for why bad things have happened to them. So the people of Philadelphia don't take this person. It's just her analysis. It doesn't mean it's like,
I don't think either of us are from here, right?
Well, this place has become like deeply ingrained in my being, but it already sounds accurate. Yeah.
So she said the people of Philadelphia lack the ability to assign meaning to the negative things they experience. In other words, they don't know why bad things happen to them the way they do. Even when they tell you why they think bad things have happened to them, it is only skin deep. The conviction of knowing does not penetrate to their core. Only uncertainty does. They don't know what they did to deserve elements of the life they are living. They don't know what to do in order to make things go their way so they can avoid these painful things in the future. Being so uncertain about why bad things happen to them, they take it personally, but silently. Deep down, they wonder if they're being singled out by the universe. If they're being singled out by the universe, they come to the conclusion that something about them must be bad, unlovable. So they stay silent about their darkness as a result. They keep it to themselves. So it spreads out like an energetic shadow most people have here. And people's solar plexus chakras are very out of alignment here.
Well, that's heady. It sounds pretty spot on. I mean, Philly is a pretty There is definitely like a fog of uncertainty, I would say. That is definitely a good descriptive word.
It's kind of chaotic too. More so than, I mean, all cities are a little chaotic, but there's a lot of, well, maybe it's just the driving is chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a bit like of a like soft psychotic vibe.
Yeah.
I like that phrase. That's like that could be like a title.
What the hell can the Boston one be like?
Boston feels crazy.
So for Philly, the dominant positive vibration is manufacturing. So that's a positive here. To make something on a large scale. So, and then she talked about food, how famous the food is, and let me look up about Boston.
Yeah, no, you don't have to read all these, but they are.
Oh, I would love to.
Amazing.
I can nerd out on this for hours, and I have. It's amazing energy and how even for physical pain too. There's so many. I have this whole thing about that. So let me see what she said about Boston. Did you live there at some point, or?
No, I just feel like it's just such a funny place. Like it's almost like its personality and culture is so strong that it like overshadows what it is actually as a place.
Yeah, it's a weird place.
I don't even know. I mean, I've like been there a few times and it was like fine, but
no, yeah, it's fine. It's similar to Philly in some ways.
Yeah,
but
the layout of
a
it
lot
sucks.
Cleaner. It's like it feels very clean.
Well, like
to
sterile.
Me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so Boston. She has nicknamed Boston the mind your own business city because everyone here is doing their own thing. The people of the city have not come together to bring identity to the city. It's not necessarily alive with any particular culture or any way of being. Instead, it is a cerebral city. Perhaps this is why Boston is so famous for higher learning. The predominant suffering here is one of isolation, but not isolation for lack of people, isolation in a crowd. So the energy field of people's emotional bodies and mental bodies is not bleed between the cars, and what means by that. So there's a lot of questioning, but there's also a lot of like mental expansion.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What's her name again?
Her name is Teal Swan, and I'll send you all the links too.
Yeah, that stuff's really interesting too.
Yeah, she's an interesting figure. She had like a whole true crime podcast about her.
Yes.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
What? A true crime podcast about her?
Huh? Yeah. Well, you can look into it. You'll figure it out.
Okay.
But yeah, those are some interesting city descriptions, though. I feel like they're not wrong.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast. It's for some reason she's really controversial because people think she's a cult leader. She's not.
Yeah,
so.
I have no idea. Yeah, you want to take that kind of like hit piece kind of thing with a grain of salt.
Definitely. At the end of the day, you know yourself the best. Like you can have 10 other people, you can listen to other people's wisdom, but at the end of the day, change happens from within. So, and I love to tell people that, like, you don't need to follow anyone else's, philosophy. Like follow your authenticity, follow your heart. And just take care of yourself as much as you can. Because a lot of times when we're not clearing out a lot of that energetic debris, it builds up. And over time, if we're not clearing out that particular trauma, that issue that is holding you back, at some point, it might manifest into illness, cancer, disease, and things like that. And so there's a woman, her name's Yvette Rose. She has a whole encyclopedia on metaphysical anatomy. Your body's talking. Are you listening? So I love pulling this out for clients. And when they talk about something, I'm like, oh, do you have any corresponding pain? Like, oh, yeah. Or maybe my neck hurts, my back, or whatever it is. I read out the passage and they're like, oh, my God, this is spot on. And it deals with those root emotional issues that have manifested in the physical body. So taking care of the mind, body, spirit, it's all intertwined. So it's really important to practice self-care and cultivating that inner peace. Very corny, but our health is our wealth.
Yeah. So, what are your opinions on manifestation and conjuration? Wow, it's Sunday morning. Good morning.
Why does everyone keep saying that? What's that from?
It's Nancy Pelosi,
Nancy.
this interview. Anyway,
Nancy's hilarious.
Wait.
Sorry. What do you think about like spirit manifestation and like elemental spirits and stuff? Do you believe like there's validity to that, or where do you classify that stuff?
Elementals, kind of like fairies and like dragons and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I was using it kind of like vaguely, but just sort of like spirit conjuration and manifestation.
Oh, yes. So are you asking? You can definitely use those things as a tool to help to enhance it as well. So ancestral meditation and having an altar, that really helps as well. And like certain, so for example, I just purchased a statue and it's, his name is Saint Expedite. So I'm going to go and conjure up, I'm going to collaborate with him. Mm-hmm. To cast things, and he's known for speediness. If you're in a pickle with, let's say you need like fast cash or you need to resolve a legal issue or whatever it is, like he'll come in and speed up the process for you. So I'm going to work with him, do like a ritual on that. So yeah, definitely use other spirits and other things, because we not only do we exist in this 3D realm, we exist in other dimensions too. So there's like dragons existing in other realms, like angels, fairies. You can see chakras and like energy forms and things like that. So definitely tap into that as well. So.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you don't really do you see that stuff as sort of being a part of our like elements of our own psyche, or do you think that spirits are in like intelligences or of their own consciousness, like apart from us?
That is a good question. I definitely agree. We do all carry a collective consciousness about us as well. So they consider that like they consider that the super conscious. So there's like the conscious mind, and then there's a subconscious, and then there's also like a super consciousness. It's like a heightened awareness involving just like everything. It's like boundless.
Yeah. What was that, Ben, you said about
what?
MK Ultra?
Oh.
Yeah. Have you researched a lot about like sort of cult programming and stuff like that?
There's a site I go to and I love reading it. I think what's it called? There's it's like a database of all the cults, and I've been watching The Vow and all that. And I don't know if you've heard of The Vow, that documentary that's been airing lately.
No, what's it about?
So The Vow talks about that cult, Nexium.
Oh, I didn't know they made a documentary about that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it's really good. It aired in August, and it's on HBO, and talks about the self-improvement group I don't know how to pronounce it. Nexium.
Yeah, Nexium.
Yeah, Nexium, right?
Yeah. Oh man, those are some real weirdos, huh?
It's weird. And it's like, but the footage of the guy and just how they talk in training groups, it reminds you of these things I go to too, like in hotel, like conference rooms and stuff like that. One of the ladies who helped develop it, she's like a really good like NLP lady and motivational trainer, and her work is the concepts she teaches are very solid, but unfortunately they used it in a way it's really disturbing. It gets really deep.
Yeah,
but
evil.
It's hard.
It's for evil.
Yeah, it really is, and it's sad because then it leaves more of a negative connotation and stigma with hypnosis and NLP, and I'm like, oh man.
Right.
Oh yeah. No one likes when their line of, or their line of work, I guess, is besmirched by weird cults.
What other lines of work can be besmirched by weird cults?
Well,
like communal farming.
Like I don't know, waiters. Probably some wait staff cults. I don't know. Like teachers. I think they get weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say besmirched.
I feel like there was some stuff like that in that the new what was the new Charles Manson book called?
Chaos?
Chaos, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Chaos. Did you happen to read that one or hear about that one?
No, I'm actually not familiar with it.
It's so this guy he wrote for what, like Time Life magazine?
Yeah, one of the big magazines. And
those are two separate magazines?
I think at one point those things were together.
Okay, yeah.
And then they became Lifetime.
Right.
And I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
The movie network.
Yeah.
He had a serialized thing about Manson, and then he took too long, and then they gave up on him, and he turned it into a book.
Oh.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like the 25th anniversary. He was just supposed to write like a short little article, and then he became obsessed with it. But he talks a lot about the programming angle and sort of like the idea that it was like a psyop, and then it sort of goes into that like deep cloudy history in the Bay Area at that time, and the infiltration of like ops and stuff like that.
LA too, I think, right? I mean, because there was kind of some traffic between those two places in terms of the hippie movement.
And like the clinic that Manson was going to and actually like getting acid from was like funded, back channeled through like the CIA. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
Yeah, there's some really wild stuff. Everybody should definitely check that one out.
We should do an episode on
story.
Manson sometime.
Yeah.
Chuck,
cool.
as I like to call him.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't like to call him Chuck.
Have you ever heard of Jolyon Wilson? Is that his name?
Oh,
the scientist.
Is he the guy that gave the elephants LSD?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's messed up.
He knocked out an elephant with LSD.
Yeah, well, the whole the MK Ultra stuff. It's just a bunch of real nice guys doing good things.
There's like I guess he like inherited the MK Ultra program, and there's an insane story in the Chaos book where after Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald, Jolyon Wilson was I hope this is his name, because if it's not,
West.
Jolyon West.
Yeah, I think that he has a name before that too. It's like he has a.
We should look this up.
A tripartite name.
Doing a bad job of podcasting if I'm saying this person's name wrong.
West.
It's Jolyon West.
I'm pretty sure, because I think it's related to Kanye.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Jolyon West. Okay, so he did like the psychoanalysis of Jack Ruby after he shot Lee Harvey Oswald, and after he got out of the prison cell, Jack Ruby was like insane. Like,
didn't he? I just wanted to prove that Jews were tough.
Yeah, he he was like altered in some way, so they think that
he was working with them, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the way that it's recounted in the Chaos book is that Jack Ruby was like mentally unstable after the interrogation.
Mm.
So he like dosed
him.
He
gave him sodium pentothal or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
LSD, weed.
Wow.
Uppers, poppers. Anyway.
Yeah, we're on the back end now. What else should we get into?
I would love to talk about the mind body spirit connection, and basically, whenever we're not clearing out an emotion, a trauma, it remains in the body, and when people experience pain or discomfort, it indicates your body is communicating with you, and your body is always communicating with you. So, for example, do you guys have any physical pain or anything like that?
Yes.
Oh, do you mind share? Do you want to? I mean, it's up to you if you want to share it.
I've been having terrible back pain for the last week.
Yeah, I have some pain in my shoulders right now.
Shoulders?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the back, feel free to specify where the discomfort is.
Mid back, like on the left side.
Mid back on your left side.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so middle back. Okay, so not upper, not lower, so the middle back, the left-hand side. Okay. Let me read. So the metaphysical cause of that, is it pretty severe? There's just like you just notice some pain. It's not severe.
Yeah, it's like maybe a 3 on the traditional 10 scale.
Okay. Can I read you the metaphysical emotion of that?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, great. So for the middle back, it relates to emotions of feeling unable to escape feelings relating to sadness and depression. Bad times are overshadowing good times. Other needs are more important than your own. Perhaps feeling like you're losing sight of your personal progress, feeling like you may have no role in life, just missed opportunities. Perhaps you might have had an upbringing filled with a lot of responsibility. Maybe feeling like you're responsible for the well-being of your parents, in charge of keeping the peace. And maybe you feel stuck at the bottom of a family ladder or tension in some sort of intimate relationship, a big fear of change, moving away from unhealthy situations, relationships, work matters, and learning to cope in negative and challenging circumstances, just feeling comfortable with the uncomfort. So you might have found comfort within chaos because changing patterns is seen as a threat to your emotional survival. You may not like changes for which you don't know the outcome. And possible secondary gain of back pain is that you don't need to feel guilty asking for support. And then key points: discern what is your responsibility and what is not. Perhaps you're getting very energetically involved with a situation that is getting the better of you, taking on extra burdens. Because the back, it's like we feel like, oh, my pain in my back. We're carrying all that pressure behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So the back would get that. Let me know if it's like resonates with your situation. Because
yeah, I mean, especially the first part. I mean, that's so interesting that there's like it's almost like a symbolic relationship of like using the back to carry like the weight of like life events or psychic responsibility, like, that kind of like, yeah. So that's very interesting. I wonder. Yeah, I would say parts of that definitely do resonate in my current world. Yeah.
What's Ben's solution for that?
So knowing you have that physical pain, you'll just dive deep into asking a lot of questions within your subconscious. Like, okay, I have this pain. What is it telling me? Like communicating with your back and seeing like, okay, responsibilities weighted down. Other people like, okay, hone it. And you kind of peel the onions. Like, wait, what is this causing this trigger, physical trigger? And then you kind of allow yourself to go into a state of analysis and meditation, kind of asking, and kind of narrowing down, like analyzing what we do in our day to day, what's going on in our lives. Because most people, they kind of operate in the same kind of habits and they're just operating on autopilot. And then kind of asking, what's going on right now? It's bothering me, upsetting me, or causing me stress. And just kind of pinpointing it deeper and deeper. And as far as maybe personal, professional, or even society too, you're carrying that you have such deep compassion and empathy. You're feeling the pain of other people's struggles as well. So clearing out the root. Yeah. And how about, so the shoulder, you said you have just like slight shoulder pain.
Yeah. Just like, slight shoulder pain.
Is it on the right or left side?
Kind of in the middle. I also slept like for 11 hours yesterday.
Yes, probably. Again, too, not everything is relating to a specific emotional thing too, because some people might have they slept wrong or they had surgery or something. So yeah.
Yeah.
So with the shoulders, same thing, being weighed down by responsibilities, but still willing to take on more. Your value might be measured by how much you can do for other people. So sometimes people with shoulder pain, they may not trust other people to pull through. So you prefer to support others. So yeah, it probably doesn't apply to your situation. It's not. You can take it with a grain of salt.
to be determined. What do you make of especially in the US right now, our susceptibility to conspiracy theories and stuff?
Oh. Yes, the conspiracy theories. That's very, very interesting.
Like, do you think that it's more of something like endemic of the way our world at this time, that people are internalizing things where they think that the world's conspiring against them? Or what's your analysis on that? Because I feel like, conspiracy is now like so popular.
There's a whole, how do I answer this? This is good. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, no worries. It's kind of like a big ask. I feel
Yeah,
like.
that's kind of the.
Yeah, it's like we're asking the supercomputer for all the answers right now.
I know.
42, right?
But yeah, it's. Yeah, that could be a whole episode. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's something that I think we wrestle with a lot because to me there are obvious instances where it's like, yeah, that's a conspiracy. And then it's like people are conspiring against each other for greed all the time. But then sort of the outlandishness of some conspiracy theories at this point seem like they're more akin to some like aspect of our psychology as opposed to like reality.
Yes, I definitely agree.
What do you think about sort of the yearning for like UFO and alien intelligence disclosure and stuff like that?
So, in my opinion, when people are into things like that, anytime anyone gets into like a subculture of any kind, whether it's like a gardening community or music or whatever it is, in the upbringing or society, we may not feel connected to the mainstream. So we find that we feel different. And when we're feeling different, it might bring up feelings of isolation. And there's a deep desire a yearning to belong. So it brings about, how do I say this? So some people feel it brings a deep sense of community that people are yearning for, but also with alien aspects, it also draws out people who they want to, how do I say this? They want to, like, they don't feel content being in this like human form or just connecting with humans, period. They have to see something outside of themselves for seeking healing. But at the end of the day, healing, it's never outside of ourselves. It's always deep within.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome because we were talking to Joshua Cutchin last week, and he was talking about disclosure, and he was like, well, the disclosure is basically inside of you. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you said that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, it's funny that you have to, I mean, he's someone that worked in that field for like, you know, pretty long and so intensely. And then you always kind of come back to that realization that like any real truth is going to be found in the self, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As above, so below.
So below.
Yes.
What does it mean if you have a pain in your pinky toe?
Pinky toe.
Do you have that right now?
No.
Oh.
I'm just curious. I'm curious, like, what the oddest, like, you know, like, I don't know, what the oddest indicators would be, like, on the body.
Oh, let's take a look.
Do you think anybody's ever levitated before?
Yeah, of course.
Because I was reading that John Keel book, The Eighth Tower, and he talks a lot about like yogis levitating. Well, not a lot. He just like mentions it.
Yeah, I think that people have done that. That kind of, I think it's a lot more rare than the people that are trying to like sell the system of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's been done.
Yeah, that book's good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we should do one about that. It's I feel like it's Keel at his best.
Yeah,
he brought the big bat. As opposed to the small bat.
Small bat, big ball. Yeah. Yeah, or small ball, big bat. Yeah. Yeah.
So for in general, for any kind of foot discomfort or pain, it's a result of pushing too hard, too often, and too fast, and all things mental, spiritual, and physical. When your feet are hurting, your soul is aching for a different foundation and stepping out into the world in a different way. So
that's interesting. It reminds me so much of certain approaches to like mythological or like literary thinking, like breaking down things in life into like these like symbolic, meaningful like units of meaning. It's really it's kind of like a beautiful way of looking at the world.
Definitely. Everything is completely intertwined. So
Yeah. What else do we have?
I don't know.
I see Dave's over here drawing the Joker. What else do we got?
oh yeah.
I'm not trying. It was no, not doodling. It was already in there. It was already drawn.
So do you guys have any goals or intentions for 2021? Anything that would be ideal that you would like to have in your reality?
What do you? I would like to survive America and this. I would like to just like be comfortable and survive. Would be nice.
I want more money.
Yeah, more money would be awesome.
Nice. Excellent. So there's this limiting belief in society with money is people think that they have to have a job they don't like and they have to work super hard to earn. So there's if we shift our relationship with money, think of it as a friend or think of it as someone you collaborate with, and you can also alter your beliefs where it's like, oh, okay, clearing out limiting beliefs like, oh, maybe perhaps it'd be nice to earn more doing what I love. And so, it's very powerful. So you can, I've seen instances of results of people manifesting, increasing their income, new homes, new jobs, partners, whatever they desire to. So there are no limitations in the subconscious mind and the connection with the universe.
I guess we should have asked this earlier, but how long have you been practicing hypnotherapy?
I've only been practicing it for about 4 years, so not that long.
Yeah. And what kind of like variance do you see in clients? Like people, I guess maybe I shouldn't ask about like, I'm betraying, like doctor or patient privilege or whatever. But like, I'm just curious, like the range of, desires that people have to change in themselves and stuff.
So I've worked with all types of people, like of all different races, socioeconomic status, every kind of person, age ranges and all that. And at the core, I've noticed like some patterns. At the core of it, people want to have a yearning and a strong desire to feel enough, like you are enough and you are loved. And once we feel that, changes will occur. Like perhaps someone will drink alcohol less as a coping mechanism for stress and depression. And when we seek validation and contentness and peace in ourselves, then we'll operate in a high vibration of love and peace. So it all comes back to the same themes I've noticed. Like it's like love, career, health, and emotional peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in like what people want during this like the strange year we're having right now with the pandemic?
Oh, yes, it's more. It's a lot of it is anxiety and depression and feeling like, okay, what do I do with my life? Because think of this pandemic as kind of like a universal pause to stop and really reflect and to shake up. Like, okay, what is in your life? Like, what is going on? What would you like to change? What would you like to heal? What would you like to be different in your life? So people are kind of wondering like, okay, I got laid off, or they're kind of like, oh my God, I'm working from home. Like, whoa, this is like, or they're completely out of work. And it's like, okay, now what do I do? Because every day we're always inundated with doing, being in traffic, distractions of our phones, and being immersed in work, deadlines, whatever it is. So we're always in a state of doing. Now we can be a human being. So just being in the moment. And with that, sometimes people freak out. It's like, whoa, what do I really want to do with my life? Or, oh my God, this particular trigger, this trauma is coming back because of this, and it's getting activated. So it's making me reflect on something from the past. So it's really fascinating. So security, financial security, and a deep release of anxiety, and just cultivating that inner peace again.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Yeah. I think that's the kind of stuff I and everyone I know has been kind of not forced to, but been given the opportunity to think about at least, I mean, now things are kind of, we've entered a different phase where it's very, people are
Yes.
working and everything's like insane. So it's a little different. But at the beginning of the pandemic, it definitely felt like that kind of pause. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the way that America is just structured to gauge like success and fulfillment and joy just financially, probably people probably have so many hang-ups with that and the lack and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And it's forcing a few people to confront, like, okay, there's things beyond yourself, and kind of cultivating a sense of caring for humanity, caring for each other, cultivating community as well. And I've seen such wonderful things this year with everyone I know. I'm like, whoa, everyone's stepping up in such a beautiful way, helping other people and thinking about other people. It's really touching. It's really touching.
What's the big finisher here? What should we close out with?
Do you recommend? Actually, I don't have a question.
Dude, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't have a question good enough to be the last one. What do you think?
Well, can you offer some words of maybe? I don't know if I should. Words of inspiration sounds cheesy, but maybe some guidance for everybody right now.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because I can't.
So my message to anyone, if for this year or anything in their life, always know, seriously, you truly can change in an instant. Change happens in an instant. And you always have the capacity to level up and improve anything in your life and cultivate whatever you desire and whatever you are meant to do in life and your life purpose as well. Don't think things are changes. We are always in a state of constant change. Change is the only constant. And if there's something you're not happy with in your physical reality, just know that you can have the option of changing anything, just opening the dialogue with your subconscious mind and tapping into your visualizations. The conscious mind doesn't know what's real and what is fake or whatever, or what it is, but just honoring that the universe always has your back. The universe is always supporting you. And whatever you're going through, it is temporary, and always just focus on that. And think positive too, because it's like attracts like as well. And if you don't like what you see, just apply a different strategy as well. So just know that you can cultivate inner peace and whatever you set an intention for, and things will get better.
Yes.
Oh, I hope so.
Having faith.
I love it. That was great.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I know that things are going to be great. So yeah.
We need to broadcast this message. We're gonna get anonymous and just like hack Fox News and just play that.
They already know that they're going to be fine. They're like,
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
You're projecting thoughts of lack, Ben.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's my.
Well, I get that's about an hour and a half, and that was so insightful and incredible. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah,
really, really fascinating.
I feel like I learned so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, or if your listeners have a question, they can reach out to me. My Instagram is Hypnosis Heals. And then if anyone has any question about anything, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. So
awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. And is there anything else? Is it hypnosisheals.com?
Yes. So my website is hypnosis-heals.com, or my Instagram handle is Hypnosis Heals.
So kind of you. Amazing.
Cool. Yeah, we'll send people your way, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we hope to have you on again sometime down the road, so we'll bug you with that.
Awesome. I would love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. This was really nice. It was I love it. So I really appreciate both of you for taking the time to conduct this.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, happy to. So that's going to be it for us. We'll be back soon with another episode.
Yep.
Love and light.
And
just think positive thoughts.
See you.
See